Hey everyone. So today we're talking about the ethical issues of 3D printing. We're Group 43. My name is Thanvi and I'm here with Jacob and Manasa. Over the years, there's been a rapid growth in technology, and one of the great technological advancements in recent years is 3D printing. 3D printing is an additive manufacturing technology which creates a three-dimensional physical object from a digital model. A 3D printer uses ink, typically made of plastic filament. Two of the fundamental innovations that 3D printing has brought are the ability to change existing objects by adding printed material to them and the ability to print original objects. This technology is an automation process that basically an object can be printed just from a machine without the need of any kind of human labor. Traditional manufacturing industries hugely depend on human labor. There are many applications of 3D printing. Just a few are that the military uses it to advance weaponry. And in the medical field, people have printed 3D artificial bones and implants, and they've even succeeded in printing viable blood vessels. We're heading towards a future in which the applications of 3D printing will only be as limited as a user's imagination. And though 3D printing will greatly improve the manufacturing of objects in terms of precision, manufacturing speed, costs, and it has the potential to save millions of lives when used in the medical field, it's a field that's growing much faster than it can be regulated. There are lots of ethical issues to consider, such as the theft of intellectual property, the abuse of 3D printing to gain access to illegal weapons, the selling of low-quality printed human organs on a black market, and the dangers of human enhancement.
Okay, hi guys, it's Jacob, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about piracy and 3D printing. So similar to software, 3D printing is really susceptible to piracy and forgery, and it's a really big problem currently because there's not really many laws that are regulating originality in 3D printing, especially since 3D printing is moving really quickly. Policymakers can't really catch up. So some of the things that have been stolen kind of by pirates, I guess, is the bust of Nefertiti. It's one of the biggest scandals, and it's in the most notorious in this case. The bust of Nefertiti is a copyrighted work of an art in the newest museum in Berlin. However, the biggest problem in here was that people who worked inside of the museum actually stole the 3D printed file and eventually gave it to the public. So one of the options that manufacturers can do, and museums too, is kind of just give this resource free to the people online. So instead of the museum or manufacturers kind of fighting against people and people stealing, what they could do is give free files, just like in software, where we offer media services such as Netflix, and we can go ahead and give people the files to build their own at home. Okay, another problem in 3D printing is at home 3D printing, especially since 3D printing is advancing rapidly. People are able to just 3D print practically anything, especially weapons. So manufacturing weapons has become super easy in the recent years, although they're not as powerful as original weapons. They are still deadly, and they can still pose a problem in the future and currently. One of the biggest things that is the problem is that 3D printed guns can bypass metal detectors since they're plastic, and this could be useful for a hitman who only needs one shot. Again, weapons are untraceable too. There's no background check because people can build it at home. And one of the biggest one scandal is in Germany, 3D printing of weapons is illegal, and that's because there's a shooting back in October 2019, and a man made two homemade weapons, a shotgun and a pistol, and basically he made them because he wanted to show the people that anyone can make weapons, and he ended up killing 2 people at a synagogue. Another problem is that companies are selling build files in New Jersey, even though it's illegal in the United States mainly to distribute files. They are fighting towards allowing the people their Second Amendment right and being able to produce their own weapons at home. And the biggest problem, again, with 3D printing of weapons is that there's really a lack of political will, and that's because people are trying to protect the right.
So, another ethical issue to consider with 3D printing is the growing technology of 3D bioprinting. 3D bioprinting is 3D printing with ink that contains living cells. Um, it has the potential to vastly improve medical treatments for ailments such as bone cancer and organ failure. Currently, 3D bioprinting technology is able to print artificial bones, blood vessels, and certain types of tissue. These artificial bones and implants can be customized because they can be printed to exactly the right shape and size from the scan of a patient. And 3D printing of non-artificial body parts like blood vessels is done by recreating the model of a structure layer by layer using bioink, the material that goes into 3D printers when bioprinting. And in the near future, 3D bioprinting will be used to print clinically useful tissue and build and repair whole human organs. There will also be 4D printed objects that can transform and assemble themselves inside the human body. And the benefits of the futures of 3D bioprinting are numerous. The risk of rejection of transplants will be reduced because the required tissue components are going to be made from the patient's own cells, and implants will be able to grow with the patient. Like in pediatric patients, you know, when like the kid will need multiple surgeries to get implants as they grow, these operations won't now be possible to replace components which are no longer suitable. So these legally printed organs will be incredibly beneficial to those who have access to the technology and can afford costly medical bills, like people on organ donor lists or patients in emergency rooms who urgently need surgery due to physical trauma. However, while 3D bioprinting could be a solution to worldwide organ shortages, this technology could also give rise to a new black market dedicated to selling cheap, low-quality cloned organs. There's already a black market for illegally obtained organs. These organs come at a reduced price, but they often can be diseased or just incompatible with the patient. And across the world, there are tons of people who don't have access to insurance or even modern medical facilities. These people won't be able to take advantage of the new 3D bioprinting technology when they need an organ transplant or have any other condition that could be fixed with 3D bioprinting. Many people in such life-threatening situations would do whatever is necessary to get the organs they need and be forced to turn to the black market 3D printed body parts, which could be bought at a fraction of the cost of legally sanctioned ones. So there are a few ways, if you could go to the next slide, there are a few ways that we can try to sort of curb this organ black market. Basically, we could increase the rate at which this technology becomes accessible around the world. Of course, this is a little bit more complicated in practice than it is in theory. Most new technologies have a similar pattern of dispersion to people around the world, starting with richer people in developed countries and making its way to poor people in underdeveloped ones. So today, this diffusion tends to take many years because producers have to look for low-cost materials, faster building methods, and cheaper labor. But hopefully with 3D bioprinting, we'll be able to streamline this process to be able to make it more affordable faster. And a second way to try to sort of curb the organ black market would be to write really strict laws and specific laws targeted at the illegal printing of organs. So these laws would govern who has access to 3D printers and to the various types of ink and bioink that could be used to create organs and other body parts or medical implants. And it's also necessary to make these laws well known and well enforced. Yeah.
Hi guys, this is Manasa, and I'm going to be talking about how 3D printing plays a role in the human enhancement and what are the challenges that are associated with 3D printing and human enhancement. So 3D printing and human enhancement has been beneficial for society in many ways, for people. First and foremost benefit is that it's fast production and the cheap cost. So, for example, if we take, there might be many people in need of emergency transplantation, and that they don't find a transplant which would meet all the requirements within the limited time that they have. In situation like this, 3D bioprinting becomes really helpful, where the organ can be printed by manipulating the digital model of the with required inputs, and this process is fast compared to the traditional manufacturing of organs at labs and factories. So one biggest advantage of 3D printing in human enhancement is that this is able to create hybrid organs with special components, like replacing bones with 3D printed ones that might have great flexibilities. So one best example that we can talk about in this case is that athletes is about athletes. So athletes can make use of this to increase their speed, strength, and stamina uh, to beyond what they're naturally capable of. So this, even though these changes would not be known to the people outside, it definitely is unfair to the players that are on the field, who will not be able to afford to these medical procedures. And one other thing is people in military. Uh, so they can have this advantage that they can undergo surgeries which will make them more durable during the war times against the destructive weapons, and this will help them less injured. And uh, people with real health issues of breathing and all, they can implant their lungs with hybrid 3D printed lungs, which can oxygenate blood more efficiently. And so all of these are definitely advantages, and there are equally the challenges that are associated with this. So one main thing is data protection and privacy. uh, Coming to that, so a company which provides medical support via 3D printing will have all the sensitive data related to medicines or organ creations. And all these data, if it's shared illegally among the communities, it will create additional threat to the IP protection. Due to this illegal sharing of files and creation of organs, um, the licensed bioprinted organs will have questions about the ownership of devices and the organs that are implanted in a patient's body. And one more thing is, without informed consent and without a professional environment of creating a bioprinted object, uh, these are so due to these illegal sharing of files, these organs are sold on black markets, as Tanvi talked about. And the organs that are sold on black markets are definitely some things that don't have high standards as a traditional manufactured organ would have, and this would definitely keep a life at risk of it losing. And so the main thing is safety and security that is required while doing bioprinted transplants, uh, because that is the top priority of saving a human life. And a few organs that are not manufactured in professional environments will definitely lack the standard and will not have the correct testing happen to the object, which is not definitely safe to a person. And so the conclusion is that technologically 3D printing has seen a rapid growth with its use in manufacturing domestic goods, advanced weaponry, bioprinting organs, and many other things. And with its increased advancements, 3D printing technology will set higher standards and new boundaries to other corporations. And it is predicted by experts that robotic food production might emerge via 3D printing, which will replace the traditional process of cultivation of food. So when this comes, all the things like rice or fruits or anything can be printed according to a person's preference, like if they want it in a particular shape, or if they want it in a particular size, in a color, they can print it as they prefer it to be. And so with all these, we can definitely say that 3D printing in future will skyrocket as as the top technology if all the ethical issues are acknowledged and taken care of properly. Thank you.